What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Convince the Panel. Today, Marvel Edition in celebration of Fantastic Four first steps hitting theaters this weekend. Last week we did a DC conversation in celebration of the new Superman movie, so I figured it was only fitting to do a Marvel edition. Very happy to be doing this episode. So whether you're watching this live or watching it after the fact, thanks for taking the time. And I got a pretty solid lineup today. I got a really solid lineup. I'm very happy about who I got on the show today. Let's just go ahead and get started with the fellow panelists who are going to join alongside me in judging today's show. Starting with the guest who was on the first episode as a contestant and is now back as a judge. I've had this guy here on the channel many times before. You know him, and that is Chad Sabourin. How's it going, my friend?
Anthony, thank you very much for having me on the channel. When you mentioned this to me, I was like, I'm down. I'm excited to do this. So I'm ready to get started.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you're like on a little vacation with your wife right now, so I appreciate you. When you said that you were still down, I was like, all right, listen, I'm not going to say no to you, but I appreciate you taking the time genuinely. And then to round out the panelist alongside Chad and I is a guest that hasn't been here on the channel since we talked about WandaVision years ago now, that I'm super happy to have him here on the channel, a fellow South Floridian, and that is Willy of Willy Rants and Reviews. How's it going, my friend?
What's up, dude? Yeah, going awesome. I'm here. This is how much better can it be? Living the dream, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate you taking the time genuinely. And yeah, it's been far too long since you've been on the channel. So I'm happy to have you on for today's show. And I'm looking forward to having Chad and Willy's thoughts on the arguments today, because it's going to be a good one. Like I said, it's a Marvel edition. And so let's get the fighters in here, the people who are gotta do all the heavy lifting of today's show, while we sit back and just judge everything that they say. Starting now with a winner of episode 2, back again to compete. He's been here on the channel actually for a couple of these Convince the Panels. He's part of my Central Florida Critics Association that I'm a part of, and we both have the same last name, but I always say it. We, as far as we know, we're not related right now, but that is Jeremy Perez of Yeti Films. What's going on, my friend?
Hey there, how you guys doing? Excited to be back. And yeah, we may not be related that we know of, but at this point, we're basically brothers.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I love it. We just actually got back from seeing The Bad Guys 2 at an early screening just a little bit ago. So yeah, very happy to see Jeremy again. It's only been a couple hours, but it's good to see you again, man. And then last but certainly not least is somebody who was here as a judge just not a couple weeks ago. Yeah, a couple weeks back. And he's back this time to compete, a big comic book nerd that I knew I needed to get onto one of these comic book episodes, and that is none other than Tyler Babb. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on? Welcome. I'm ready to debate. I have thoughts. So let's go.
Yes. This is going to be a great time. Great lineup of guys here. And before we get into this, as usual, guys, you can find the links to any of these guys down below in the description box. Go give them some love. Let them know I sent you. And guys, let's get into this. For anybody who's watching at home who does not know how this works, really quickly to run it down, we have 8 questions today. It's going to be first to 5 points. Each question is going to be handled in 3 rounds of debates. You're going to get 60 seconds, which is where our contestants will have the chunkiest portion of their argument. After that, they'll have 30 seconds each to kind of do some rebuttals and add and strengthen their argument. And then a final 15 seconds where they'll bring it home and have to convince the panel as to their answer. At that point, then, me and the fellow judges will go alongside one another and cast our vote for who we felt won that round. And then first to 5 ends up winning the game. There is a 9th tiebreaker question that neither one of the contestants are prepared for, so that'll be fun when we get there, if we get to the tiebreaker today. But yeah, this is going to be a good fun. Good fun time. I can't speak today. Let's all remember that this is in good fun. Again, the links to these guys are down below in the description box, so go give them some love. And any question from you guys?
No.
All right, cool. And to my panelists, just a reminder, they may be arguing for something that you don't agree with. You might agree with one person who's arguing, but I implore you to put your bias aside and pick who you felt made the best argument, even if you don't agree with their answer, and even if they're talking about something that you're maybe not super familiar with. But I know everybody on here is pretty savvy with this, with Marvel, at least to an overarching degree. And we got some good questions in here, and more than anything, some good answers that I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go toe to toe. So let's get started with episode 1. Bro, I can't speak today. Let's get started with question number 1, and that is, what is the best film based on a Marvel comic? Last week when we did the DC episode, both people that were arguing, Robbie and Alex, both argued for 2 Batman films, and following suit, both contestants today are both arguing for 2 Spider-Man films. Tyler is going to be arguing for the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, and Jeremy is going to be arguing for Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. So 2 Spider-Man movies. I should also mention really quickly, to keep it fair, so the same person isn't starting every time, we will take turns on which contestant starts on each round, so that it's not the same person always starting. And similarly for the judges, in order to avoid one of us always having to break the tie, we will take turns as far as who starts, rotating the list. And yeah, guys, let's get into this. This is going to be a really good time. I'm looking forward to this. So, Tyler, I should also say I'm keeping track of the time on my phone. That'll be the last thing I say as far as the rules. Tyler, you have 60 seconds. Why is Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, directed by Sam Raimi, why is that the best film based on a Marvel comic?
Spider-Man 2002 is the best comic book movie ever made for Marvel because it is the one that broke the ground. Yes, we had X-Men before and we had Blade, but this is the one that truly encapsulates what it feels like to read a Marvel comic. It was the first one to do it, and some would say that it hasn't been touched since. Tobey Maguire is still considered to be the best Spider-Man ever put on screen. If you ask anybody that grew up, and even people that were born after his movies finished, he would still be the top. Everybody is compared to him. You had Sam Raimi, who was a Spider-Man fan, grew up with, this is the director, grew up with Spider-Man painted on his wall. Is there a better person to direct a Spider-Man film? No, not at all. You had a script that shows you the wanting of the girl next door, right? It is the classic story. It is the thing that we can all relate to, and it inspired a generation of comic book lovers.
60 seconds for Across the Spider-Verse from Jeremy.
Across the Spider-Verse is the perfect embodiment of a comic book movie. The multitude of themes, from what it means to be Spider-Man, to always doing what's right, to being yourself in spite of what others say, destiny versus free will. There's so much here, along with a fantastic story that is so comic booky and high concept, yet it's also so personal for our main character in Miles Morales. The characters, from the inclusion of many, many different Spider-Man people, versus alongside with Miles and his family, Miguel versus Miles, Spot versus Miles. There are so many different dynamics happening in this movie that also attach to the themes, but are also so entertaining for people of all ages. The visuals are also groundbreaking. It takes the visuals from Into the Spider-Verse and it actually turns it up to 11 and continues to be something that is so iconic and will be remembered and studied for years to come. How much time do I got left?
3 seconds.
Score is also fantastic.
All right, time. All right, 30 seconds. Just a reminder to everybody at home too, and to our contestants on the 30-second and 15-second rounds. Expand your arguments, but also this is where you guys can start to, have a little rebuttal to what the other person said. All right, Tyler, 30 seconds.
Across the Spider-Verse is only half of a movie, so I ultimately disqualify it from it being the best movie of ever, a comic book movie ever made. There are the Spider-Man is a complete story that shows you the arc of a boy who becomes a man by the end by choosing responsibility over his want and love for his MJ, for the girl that he's wanted. It's a complete story with a villain who pushes him to the ultimate ends of the earth as he becomes the ultimate Spider-Man before we go into his great sequel.
30 seconds, Jeremy.
The argument that's Across the Spider-Verse is half of a movie is what I think is so perfect to comic books because it keeps you wanting to read. It keeps you wanting to go to the next one, just like Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man 2, though, Spider-Man is a worse version of Spider-Man 2, which in the Raimi trilogy, Spidey 2 does everything that Spider-Man 1 does, but a lot better, including everything you just said, from the themes to the villain to every single thing. In it also, Goblin looks like a Power Rangers villain.
All right, time. Final 15 seconds, Tyler.
We grew up in a time where you needed to believe that we needed a hero. And this is why Spider-Man is the best, is because 9/11 happened and it shifted everything. And Spider-Man was the one that kind of brought our country together at the time.
15 seconds, Jeremy.
We currently live in a time in which you need to believe that anyone can be a hero, especially yourself. Anyone can be Spider-Man. That's such a beautiful message. No matter your creed, your race, your gender, or anything, we can all be Spider people and we can all be the hero.
All right, Tom. I can tell you right now, I'm fully aware this is going to be a hell of a battle across these questions, and I do not. Now I'm feeling a little bit of the pressure on the judging side of like, damn, this is not going to be easy. But thankfully, I don't got to go first this time. So, Chad, you're up first. Who are you casting your vote for?
Do you want me to talk about like both sides? Like,
yeah, you can give your full thoughts as to why you're giving your point to who you're giving your point.
So I'll say right away with Tyler, I liked how he explored the history side of it with the impact that Spider-Man had and how, yes, X-Men was the one that kind of paved the way for the comic book genre, but Spider-Man's what I feel like solidified it as something that could be as prolific as it is today. However, I will say, Jeremy, I liked what he touched on in regards to how Spider-Man can be anyone and how at the end of the day, Spider-Man is all about consequences. And he dived into the animated side of it and how I agree it's not just one movie. I think that it's a movie that makes you want more, but I think it stands on its own. And also how the first Spider-Man is a worse version of the second one. So I think that it's groundbreaking. I like it from a historical standpoint, but I'll give the point to Jeremy. I think he had a better argument, in my opinion.
All right. Yeah, no, that was a tough one for me.
It was a tough one, though.
It was a tough one. Already we got some comments in here saying that they're putting some serious heat on the judges. Yeah, like that's a great first round. I won't lie. I think Tyler made a really great case for like just like the way it really propelled the superhero genre in the Marvel movies. Like it's just like such an integral piece. And then I was hoping you would throw in that ding of Across the Spider-Verse being an incomplete story. But then I think Jeremy did a good job of also kind of refuting that. And in terms of like really capturing the notion of anybody can be Spider-Man, the way it captures all these different themes while also balancing several villains and several storylines and stuff like that. But it's really leaving you wanting more. And I'll be honest, both Spider-Man and Across the Spider-Verse are two movies that I've given 5 out of 5s. So this is like, there's no bias on my end because I think they're both perfect Spider-Man movies. Oh, man. But I think just capturing, like really just setting the foundation, I'm going to give the slight edge to Tyler, which unfortunately leaves Willy to have to break the tie immediately on question number 1. So Willy, who are you casting your vote for?
Man, first I want to give a big thank you to Jeremy. I have to admit something, man. Even though I love Marvel. I am more of a DC fan, but I love Marvel. I never saw the second Spider-Verse film because as much as I love the first one, it was one of those trailers where I was like, great, I guess I just saw the whole freaking movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's true, but it made me feel like that because the trailer almost went through the first, second, and third act. And I'm like, holy craps, I hate when trailers do that. I'm sure I'm wrong. There was plenty more to the film, but now with what Jeremy said, I want to see the movie. So thank you for that. I'll probably put it on once we're done, actually.
Nice.
That said, it's with all the movies that come out, with all the comic book films that come out, and how breakthrough so many of them are. Something like The Dark Knight or something like an Infinity War or something like that. You tend to forget some of the originals, or at least the ones that really blew it out of the water. And I mean, someone could say it was Batman from '89 or Superman, the first Christopher Reeve movie, but we tend to forget how much of a landmark film that first Spider-Man is. I'm a huge Sam Raimi fan. And that movie had Sam Raimi written all over it. But I think a big breakthrough was for the first time you could actually show those kind of effects, like someone swinging from a web, and not make it look stupid. And even though yes, I totally agree with Jeremy, the freaking Power Rangers, I couldn't handle that, dude. That's all I ever freaking see when I see that movie. But yeah, I can't get away from how much of a landmark film that is. And Tyler really reminded me of that, so I have to give him the edge there because that like just stands the test of time. But both great arguments, man.
Yeah.
All right, so Tyler wins that first point, but it's still anybody's game, y'all. We are just getting started. That was really great. I also want to add.
I figured it was going to be those two movies. As soon as I picked mine, and then we had that little discussion, I was like, oh crap! I was like, that's going to be, and I was like, I was sweating. I was like, how am I going to argue against that great movie? Jeez.
Let me tell you guys something too. That this was the episode I had to change the questions more than any other episode in the past, because both of these guys gave the same answers for several questions, and then I changed the question at one point, and then that same question they also had the same answer. So these two guys are definitely thinking in a lot of the same places. But I also want to add really quickly to my thoughts on Tyler's argument. Just lastly, another part that I really like that you said, that part of like why I gave you the edge was that you mentioned like about like the unifying element of that, and I always remember that near the scene at the end, you know, especially right after 9/11, when all the New Yorkers are just throwing like shit at Green Goblin, and they're just like, you know, you mess with Spider-Man, you mess with all of us. Like, I love that scene. I think that that's part of what like really sings to me about that movie. So bringing that part about like it unifying people, I think is a really big factor. But anyway, with all that said, Tyler wins the first point, but it's still anyone's game. And so similar to the first question, we're just going to do the flip side of it now. What is the worst film based on a Marvel comic? Tyler is going to be arguing for Howard the Duck, and Jeremy is arguing for 2015's Fan Four Stick, the not so beloved Fantastic Four film, here on a weekend of a brand new Fantastic Four film that most people seem to be enjoying. So really quickly, also, I just want to add, there's a couple comments from the last one. Toby was definitely the best Spidey, such good casting with that one. Spider-Verse is a great Spider-Man movie, but would not be that movie if it wasn't for Spider-Man with Toby. Spider-Man 2002 wins, no question. Tyler destroyed this argument, and then talking about the trailers, that they also hated those trailers. But with all that said, let's get into this next argument. Jeremy, you're up first. Why is Fan Four Stick the worst Marvel movie ever made?
Before I get into my argument, I just want to say thank you, Anthony, for not flipping the question on us for this, because I don't know what I would have done, and I was worried that was going to happen. Don't
you worry. There might still be a twist somewhere in here, but we'll find out. We'll see.
I'm fine with the rest of them. This one I was worried about. All right, so getting to my argument for this is the absolute bottom of the barrel realism era bullshit of superhero films that deserve to die. Oh my goodness, I am so glad we're past this. The costumes are whack. The cinematography was whack. The editing was bad. The visual effects were bad. It felt like no one wanted to be there. It almost felt like it was a hostage situation, especially with the very obvious reshot parts. Everyone's pouty and it's edgy, and they're doing this with Marvel's first family, something that's so steeped into sci-fi and fantasy, and something that's so whimsical and yes, has deep themes, but this doesn't even touch on that. There's nothing redeemable about this movie. This made me question my love for film. Do you know how hard that is? Like, I rewatched this last week, and I was absolutely baffled that not a single right choice was made, whether that be from the creative vision originally that was changed by the studio, whatever. Everyone made the wrong choice. No one did anything good here. You have
time. All right. Tyler, Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck is by far the worst comic book movie ever made, simply because the plot is nonsensical. You have Howard the Duck, who gets just jettisoned into our world randomly out of nowhere, meets Leah Thompson, and tries to form some sort of weird bestiality relationship. Is this marketed towards children, or who's the market for this? And George Lucas also produced this. Which this is before he made the prequels. But anyways, basically Howard the Duck is running around, and some people like him, some people are friendly with him, and some people are scared of him in our real world. And he ends up not doing much. There's no plot here. There's nothing that goes on. There's no stakes. He's just walking around and is angry, and then there's a biker gang that appears, and then he gets sent back home for no reason with a laser. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no emotional story here whatsoever, and it makes you question why was this made?
Time. Oh, that was perfect. You ended it right on the dot. All right, 30 seconds, Jeremy.
Just to continue on here, there's hollow characters, there's blah tropes. This movie was so bad that opening day for the new Fantastic Four already outgrossed domestically what this movie made domestically. Whereas there's one redeemable quality with Howard the Duck, and that there is a nice puppet to it. There's nothing redeemable about Fan Four Stick. I can't even call it by its actual name. I have to call it by Fan Four Stick.
You got 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's just an atrocity to any Marvel movie and to any movie ever.
Time. All right. 30 seconds, Tyler.
Well, if you like the Fantastic Four, I think there are some redeeming qualities here, which are Michael B. Jordan played a really great Johnny Storm, and Miles Teller also did a really good job at portraying a young Mr. Fantastic. Now, Howard the Duck ain't got no characters, ain't got no character development, ain't got nobody trying whatsoever in this movie. The puppet, looks okay, but they've made better puppets. We've seen E.T. and at the time, and we saw much better puppets.
15 seconds, Jeremy.
These characters may be named after these Marvel properties, but they resemble none of them in any single distinguishable way. They just hit certain tropes that are done by any other movie. If they didn't have those powers, it could have been just a B grade sci-fi movie that's actually an F grade.
Time. All right. Final 15 seconds, Tyler.
Howard the Duck is pointless. Howard the Duck does nothing to advance anybody's likeness of the movies, and it is strange, and there are duck boobs. Again, going back to who is this movie marketed for? There's no point for this movie existing.
All right. Another great argument, guys. That's a tough one for me because I think, two horrible movies. I don't know who I'm going to give my points to be honest, but I'm going to – you guys both made really good points, but I think the one argument that really stuck out to me was Jeremy mentioning that Fantastic Four or Fanforstic just never captured the whimsy, any of the fantasy, any of the sci-fi. That's what I loved about the new movie. It's like they leaned into the comics. It's Marvel's first family. It's a guy who turns on the fire and a stretchy guy and an invisible lady and a big rock. If you try to ground that too much and what he said, that grounded realism BS era, it's it just doesn't work. And that's why we're going the other way right now, Superman and with Fantastic Four. So I'm going to give my point to Jeremy this time. So Willy, you're up next. Who are you throwing your point to?
I don't even know how to wrap my head around this. So I'm normally not into kink shaming, but thanks to Tyler, I'm going to think of bestiality when I think of Howard the Duck now. Never crossed my mind. Wow. But just going on, looking at both movies, I think there's a stupidity about Howard the Duck that at least makes it somewhat watchable if you've had a few drinks, where Fantastic Four, Fanstick 5, whatever the fuck. Sorry, language.
You're okay, trust me.
It just seems like don't open the door for that. I'll just start cursing. But it just seems like that's a movie that we've seen a million times, where there'd be the original Hulk movie that was really bad with freaking what's his name, or that it was just forgettable, like just old early Marvel shit, even though it wasn't that early. But Jeremy's argument made me want to jump off the fucking building, dude. Question my life. Just his opening argument. I'm why do we love movies? Why do we love anything? I was ready to call the hotline for you and get you help. So yeah, just on the conviction of argument, I kind of have to lean on what Jeremy says. It's such an unforgettable film. The one thing that I will argue is at least you had Michael B. Jordan in there, but even he didn't want to. Yeah.
All right. So Jeremy wins that point, but as usual, even when we've already gotten to a consensus, Chad, I'd love to hear your thoughts still on who you were going to vote for that round.
I was going to vote for Jeremy simply because I've seen Fantastic Four, Fanforstic, whatever it's called, finally a week or two ago. I have not seen Howard the Duck, but Tyler, your argument makes me want to watch it because it seems like a film you can watch with friends and just it seems like a so bad it's good type movie. Fanforstic, I would not watch again. I give you props, Jeremy, for watching it a second time. I did.
Yeah, it might have taken years off my life, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I rewatched that one a few years back, and it was rough. And so just to look at some of the comments here, Nikki popped in saying, no, Howard the Duck is the worst movie ever. Mike popping in here saying that he hasn't seen either one of them, so it's going to be interesting. Howard the Duck reminded me of that garbage Super Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Yeah, that was an era. Howard the Duck has never been remade. Could say how bad it is. I would honestly, though, I would be curious to see a modern day Howard the Duck, the one from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I was gonna say, I thought we were supposed to get that because I thought that's what Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of hinting towards.
Yeah, they haven't made any
Mhm.
movements, or the closest we've gotten is in that What If series. There was like an episode where him and is it Darcy from the it was a very weird episode. It was Howard the Duck and Darcy from the Thor movies like had a kid, and they like are like raising, then they have to like,
Bestiality.
yeah, it's
That's just
pretty
the theme with Howard the Duck, apparently.
I guess so. We also got, it was marketed towards me. It's so silly in every way. So it looks like Howard the Duck has some love in the comments. But great argument. It's 1-1 right now, guys. Let's move on to question number 3. What is an underrated film based on a Marvel movie or Marvel comic? This should be a fun one. Tyler is arguing for Spider-Man 3, the last film in Sam Raimi's trilogy that many people say is the worst one. So I'm curious to hear his thoughts there. And Jeremy is arguing for Captain America, the First Avenger, the first film to feature Chris Evans in that role. So, Jeremy, we started with you last time. So, Tyler, you are up first. 60 seconds for why Spider-Man 3 is the most underrated Marvel film of all time.
Spider-Man 3 is the completion of Tobey's arc, which you cannot discount this. This shows what happens when somebody's power goes to their head and the journey back to a loving, caring boyfriend and superhero. There's a lot going on here that shows you how you can test a hero, whereas there are a lot of things that people don't like about this movie, but realistically, there's the hero arc, there's the friendship arc, there's a lot of things that kind of round out the trilogy, and the VFX in here are incredible. You have the Sandman VFX, the Sandman subplot, which adds a lot of emotional depth here in this movie.
You got 20 seconds if you want it.
And you get the black suit Spider-Man, which we had been wanting to see up until that point. Everybody was so excited, and the marketing around this movie was incredible at the time. The hype for this was unbelievable, and I think it delivered.
All right, time. 60 seconds for Captain America, First Avenger.
All right, with Captain America, the First Avenger, we get the introduction to the best character in the MCU. There's a lot of fun visual storytelling in here. It's cheesy, but it's good cheese at times. The red blood on the insignia of the skull symbol for when they reveal Red Skull, like, without the red yet, amazing at the beginning. The shot of the shield and the ice at the beginning of the movie just really sets the stage. The side characters, how rare is it that we get an MCU movie with good side characters, especially this many, with Agent Carter, played by Haley Atwell, a major crush of mine that was just a badass and a great hero herself. Colonel Phillips, played by Tommy Lee Jones, is wonderful, classic wartime character. The GOAT, Dr. Erskine, played by Stanley Tucci, amazing in there. Bucky, played by Sebastian Stan, who's a major fan favorite. We get the start of his arc in this. And of course, Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving, who is one of the most underrated villains in the entirety of the MCU. And I clapped when he came back in Endgame because of this movie.
All right, 30 seconds, Tyler.
I didn't really know that this was considered an underrated film. I thought that this was considered a really good film. So that's kind of surprising that you picked this one. But Spider-Man shows you how you can go from, again, somebody who doesn't have, like, they have the powers that they have, and they're actually tested and then brought back to redeeming. You have Harry Osborn, which he thought that he killed his father, but then you see the arc come all the way through.
30 seconds, Jeremy.
It's definitely underrated because when you talk about Captain America and his movies, you only talk about the second two, Civil War and Winter Soldier. Meanwhile, with your film, it seems like there's revisionist history recently, especially with the re-releases from last year, because a lot of people are coming out of the woodworks and really loving that movie. I still don't think it's great because I think they do atrocious things to Venom with that leathery look. It's not wonderful. But with Captain America First Avenger, the score is definitely underrated. It's the most iconic score, I think, for a singular hero outside of the Avengers theme.
Time. Final 15 seconds, Tyler.
Well, we still do get Venom, while as the newer Venom movies, that's not Venom at all. There is still an Eddie Brock scene here, and we have the Eddie Brock character who is opposed to Tobey Maguire. And again, we see the symbiote arc played out very well in this movie.
Final 15 seconds, Jeremy.
Captain America: The First Avenger delivers one of the best themes of the entire series of Marvel films with "I Can Do This All Day." Meanwhile, it's properly rated for Spider-Man 3 as a meme gore fest. It's campy, it's fun, but it's ultimately forgettable, especially with the first 2 Spider-Man movies.
All right. Well, let me just say I'm happy to be last in judging this round to see what the other guys come up with, which means, Willy, you're up first this time. Who are you casting your vote for?
Man, this is hard because I'm trying to stick to the rules of the actual game, where it's not my personal opinion, but the arguments themselves. I think what's kind of hurting Jeremy here is that I don't think it's an underrated film. I loved the first Captain America. To me, there's only 2 Captain America films, because Civil War was just Avengers. It's an Avengers movie. It's not really a Captain America movie. It's an Avengers movie. The only thing I didn't like about the first Captain America was I thought the Red Skull was kind of shitty the way they did it. Tyler's got a lot more to work with in his argument, because, man, Spider-Man 3 sucks, dude. What they did to Venom makes me actually like Venom in the Venom movies. That's like a Three Stooges character. I'm still waiting for an actual Venom. We still don't have one. Yeah, I mean, I can't get past the emo freaking Peter Parker. I can't get past any of that shit. But I think just a hair, I got to give it to Jeremy, because Tyler's not making me like Spider-Man 3 anymore. In fact, Tyler's argument reminds me of why I don't want to see the movie again. Where Jeremy is, Tyler, congrats on going for the bigger challenge.
I did. I challenged myself here. I did. I was like, well, what are we going to pick? Yeah.
Yes, so by a hair, I give it to Jeremy, but it's not by much, dude. It's a hair.
All right. Well, Chad, who are you throwing your vote to?
I'm going to say right away Tyler, and I'm going to explain why. It's for which is the most underrated. Captain America, I still remember seeing that opening day and people losing their mind with that movie, especially the end credits scene. Spider-Man 3, throughout my entire life, that movie's always been treated as a joke. And Tyler explained why he liked it, and it's like, I can understand why you like it and why you feel it's underrated. Captain America, I've never seen it as underrated. It's the reason why people were so hyped for the Avengers. So I have to give the point to Tyler.
All right.
Historically speaking, Tyler is right.
Well, so. I'm gonna echo that. I'm giving the point to Tyler too, and I think only because I do agree with the sentiment that and I'm glad Tyler brought it up. If not, I wouldn't be using this against Jeremy. But I don't think First Avenger is that underrated. I do agree that most people think of the other 2 more, but I do think that I think that I personally agree that Spider-Man 3 is underrated, and I think Tyler made good arguments that made my brain go, yeah, I see what you're saying. Though I do agree Venom was butchered. It's like it's a meme factory, but yeah. So I'm giving my point to Tyler, which makes it 2 for Tyler, 1 for Jeremy. Still anyone's game. We're still
That's
super
amazing.
early in.
I didn't think I was going to win that at all. I was like, I swung and I was like, all right, we'll do Spider-Man 3. I don't think I'm going to win this at all, but we'll try.
Look,
sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry, since it's not going to matter now anyway. Yeah, you guys are right. Tyler should get my point too, but it's not going to matter. So
Tyler won the point.
Look, I want to be in your guys' bubbles because no one talks about First Avenger. Like anyone that I know or like on the internet where I see. So that's why I picked it, because I'm like, this is gold that just no one seems to remember.
You're hanging out with the wrong people, dude. I saw that
yesterday.
It was on TV.
Real quick, a couple comments. Tyler is going to have to convince me here because Captain America: First Avenger is my favorite movie of all time. But that he massively agrees that Spider-Man 3 is massively underrated and is a great ending despite it being messy. Mike also popped in there to say MCU movie of all time. Yeah, Michael, don't worry. We all know that Back to the Future is your favorite movie of all time. We also got it. To be fair, the first Avenger did not have the fancy graphics, but had a spectacular storyline and cast. Would not have the Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, Civil War without that movie. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, a good argument either way. It's a good job, guys. Yeah, definitely a tough one. The next one is one I had to change this question, I think 3 times because these guys kept picking the same answer. And finally, Finally, we landed on something where they gave me different answers. But this is going to be a good one for sure. So question number 4, which Marvel character deserves a TV show or film who has not already had one? Tyler is arguing for Gambit, the X-Men character, and Jeremy is arguing for Blue Marvel, who is a character that a lot of people don't know, but he's a big cosmic character that's pretty badass, incredibly overpowered. Tyler, we started first with you last time. Jeremy, 60 seconds for why Blue Marvel deserves his own film or TV show.
All right, I'm giving Blue Marvel a movie. We open up in mid-battle. He's going against Ant-Man, his long-time enemy. Blue Marvel has mask on and everything. We basically open up with him hitting the dirt. That's how we see the mask. And we hear a narrator speak. So there I was in the middle of the city going blow for blow with Ant-Man. The two fight. More narration happens. We see the mask start to chip away. And we reveal the narrator to be Blue Marvel himself, Adam. We see he's actually talking to his grandchildren about this story. He ends the story by saying, my mask may be broken, but it was all worth it because I got to meet the president. We go forward to now a scene with him accepting the Medal of Honor from JFK. We find out that he retires slightly after this, starts to have a family and everything, and these are the grandchildren that eventually came from that. A little down the line, we see him be a professor. We get Iron Man in here.
Time. All right, 60 seconds for Gambit, Tyler.
Gambit, aka Remy LeBeau, has needed his own film for like 2 decades now. Audiences have been clamoring. They've been emailing Marvel, tweeting Marvel, give Gambit a show. We had Channing Tatum play Gambit, and the only thing that people talked about after that movie was Gambit. He is the one that needs to have his own movie or his own show. You have romance with Rogue. That needs to be put on screen in some way. But Remy LeBeau, with his charm, the Southern New Orleans vibe and the colorfulness, everything can happen in a Gambit movie. You can introduce multiple X-Men. There are so many possibilities here with Remy LeBeau and his acrobatic funness and his emotional core of a human being. This is a movie that needs to be made. Marvel, you need to fast track this right away.
You got 10 seconds.
He's got cool energy blasts. He could basically make anything happen. And I think there could be a really cool action sequence. And if you cast the right person, it would be mind-blowing and original.
All right, time. 30 seconds, Jeremy, whenever you're ready.
All right, I'll speed this up. I wrote way too much. But basically, this becomes like an Avenger movie, but it's seen through the eyes of Blue Marvel, a character that may be all-powerful, but ultimately has to fight the injustices of our everyday society because that's why he went into hiding in the first place. It's a wonderful story to look up. Meanwhile, with Gambit, we already had a wonderful story of his put to television screen with X-Men 97. I think that was the most perfect way to tell his story, especially with how the character ended up, with the romance, with the drama, with his heroic sacrifice.
Time. 30 seconds, Tyler.
X-Men 97 was about the X-Men and was about Cyclops and Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor and their story, and not really a Gambit story. We kind of hinted at it, but that gives me more fuel. I think that needs to be drawn out into its own show or its own trilogy or its own movie. So I think you're helping me with my argument there. Imagine this. We are in New Orleans. We have the music and the vibe, and it's colorful, and we can even do like some sort of thief like heist movie, right? And Gambit is trying to steal.
Final 15 seconds, Jeremy.
I think Gambit works better as a team unit because we did get a perfect bow on his story in X-Men 97, and we don't need Channing Tatum back, which hopefully that's not the route you're going. But with Blue Marvel, we've never seen him before. This is a wonderful character. He's also black, so we can give even more power just outside of one black superhero with Black Panther.
Final 15 seconds, Tyler.
I would totally recast this role. I would find somebody young that could play him for the next 10 to 15 years, and that helps us usher in the X-Men. He could be an older mentor to the new X-Men in the MCU. And again, that romance with Rogue is something that we could model after the Lois and Superman that we saw in DC.
All right. That was a good one, guys. That was a good one for sure. I love the passion from both sides. I love the knowledge, the details, you guys both came with it. So of course Chad has the fun opportunity to start off the votes this time around.
Oh, this is tough. I see both of your viewpoints as to why you guys want the characters, but ultimately I would say what made Jeremy win me over was him seeing Blue Marvel, like his perspective of the Avengers, because I feel like whenever we see the Avengers movies, it's from the Avengers point of view. So it would be a different viewpoint. I feel like also Blue Marvel, nobody knows who he is. Like, I don't know who he is. I know who Gambit is. It's like, he's a fun side character. So I'm giving the point to Jeremy, but I will say Tyler made a pretty good argument as well, because there can be plenty of renditions of a character. So even if you don't like Channing Tatum's rendition, you have X-Men 97, and I'm sure there's going to be other renditions. So, but Blue Marvel, I don't know if we'll ever get one. So it'd be cool if he gets a chance in the spotlight.
All right, yeah. So that's one for Jeremy. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off. I'm giving my point to Jeremy, and I think just Jeremy came like prepared. He had a whole breakdown. I was seeing the movie in my head. Tyler started getting there. I started seeing that New Orleans vibe. I started seeing that movie, how unique it could be, how different it could be. But I just think Jeremy gave me a little bit more in terms of details as far as like what his movie's looking like. And I really liked visualizing that. But you both killed it. Like, I want both of these movies. I want both of these series. I loved it. The passion, the knowledge, it made that argument even better. So Jeremy wins the point, but as usual, love to hear from the other judge. So Willy, who were you going to give your point to?
Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. No, yeah, it really doesn't matter, because I was going to Tyler. But no, Jeremy, I love what Jeremy was saying. I love the story. But if we're building arguments, the longest portion that Jeremy had to build an argument, he was actually going over the script. I will tell you, it's a great audition. And if I was actually doing this project, I would want you to be the screenwriter for sure. But when going over the argument, going over how much people have been wanting a Gambit film, how much people have been wanting that, and that it hasn't been totally fleshed out yet, at least not by Channing Tatum. But and I will say that as much as I do love Jeremy's argument, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard another Black superhero was, where's Miles Morales? Like a live action. Like, that's it's like that guy's been so disrespected as far as like he needs to be on a live action somewhere. And, so that's the first thing I thought. And it's like, yeah, we've been waiting for Miles Morales. We've been waiting for Gambit. We've been waiting for these things. I would love to see Blue Marvel. I got to look up more Blue Marvel. So thank you for that, Jeremy. But I do have to give the point to Tyler, even though it's a useless, meaningless point. Sorry, Tyler.
I'll take it. It means something to me. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's all good. There's going to be a little bit of that on every question. But no, that was great. You guys both did a great job. Loved hearing the thoughts from the judges as well. So yeah, definitely some different things in the comments too. If Madam Web can get a movie, then Gambit and Blue Marvel can get a TV show.
I completely forgot about Madam Web.
Yeah, that was something else. And I'm surprised neither one of you guys said that as your worst. And then love the argument, but I'd have to go with Blue Marvel based on the first round. Man, what a story already. So yeah, just a good round altogether. And we're tied. Obviously it's still anybody's game. You guys are doing a great job. This is a lot of fun to watch. This right here is the reason I started this show. Two passionate nerds getting nerdy, doing nerdy things. It's fantastic. All right, let's move on to the next question, which is, what is the worst TV show based on a Marvel comic? Tyler is arguing for She-Hulk, and Jeremy is arguing for Secret Invasion. Two very different shows that got not the best reviews from people. Most people did not like them. And if you've seen this show before, you know that sometimes I like to throw a little bit of a twist on these questions. So today, our boys here are not going to be arguing for why this is the worst TV show ever made in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead they're going to argue for why She-Hulk and Secret Invasion are the best TV shows in Marvel, of the Marvel comics. So you got to sell us on it. So I think, Jeremy, did you go first last time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler, you're up first. Take a moment if you need to. Why is She-Hulk the best TV show made by a Marvel or based on a Marvel comic?
I'm so glad I'm not going first on this one. I'm so sorry, Tyler.
Don't worry. Time starts when you start speaking. I won't start the timer until then.
Just say the opposite of your notes.
I know Chad was waiting for this one because on the first, real quick, while you ground up your thoughts, Tyler, on the first episode, it was what series should end, like should never continue again, and Chad chose Fast and the Furious, and I flipped the question where it was why it must continue, and seeing Chad try to figure it out on that first episode was fantastic. So whenever you're ready, Tyler, I'll start the timer.
I feel for you guys right now. I'll just say that.
Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk is beautiful to look at, and the CG is pretty revolutionary here. I mean, you have to create a fully CG realized character. It's not like the Hulk where you can be bigger than life and you can kind of get away and you got to frame him in a wide shot because he's so big. She's a little bit bigger, but I mean, she needs to look picture perfect, and all of the VFX money went straight into her character, and it needed to for this show. We see her do a lot of cool things. She twerks. It's pretty hot. So, you got to just kind of take it in for what it is. And Daredevil makes a cameo, which we all love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. So he's in here and he's the highlight of the show along with her because they have sex. So that's pretty cool too. There is a lot of cool things to love about this. And she breaks the fourth wall, which no other Marvel character has done in the MCU. So that gives it a new spin as well. It's pretty entertaining. If you sit there and you watch it, it's pretty cool.
All right, time. 60 seconds, Jeremy, for Secret Invasion. Why is it the best Marvel TV show?
Thank you for reminding me. Best. Okay,
You're
best.
welcome. Yeah, best.
This is an earth-shattering idea, Secret Invasion. Oh my goodness. The Skrulls have invaded Earth, and it's invaded our most trusted heroes. Rhodey, Iron Man's best friend, his most trusted friend, basically, and one of our most trusted people in the entire MCU was a Skrull. He didn't even get to spend his last moments with Iron Man when he snapped, and brought everyone back. Also, this show had Olivia Colman, which was wonderful. It also was a show that centered around Samuel L. Jackson. We needed that for years. Ever since we saw him as Nick Fury, we needed this, and we actually got a wonderful drama with him. And so many wonderful reveals are happening here. There's also a wonderful new character in Gaia who might be the most powerful character ever in the MCU. She's basically Super Skrull, but good, which is a great idea. And I hope we get to see her in the next Avengers movie. There's also Kensley Benadir, who was the villain, a fantastic villain as a Skrull. I'm so excited to see where Scooter goes after this.
30 seconds, Tyler.
Your show's opening credits were made by AI, so that's an immediate negative. You talked about Gaia. Gaia basically nerfs every hero in the MCU because she can absorb everybody's powers. And Marvel specifically kicked her out because they can't even resolve that, and they're not even going to bring her back. So she is not somebody that is even going to continue into the MCU. Tatiana Maslany and her She-Hulk will be in Doomsday and will play a major role with Hulk in Secret Wars.
30 seconds, Jeremy.
AI being used for the opening credits was because it needed to feel alien, just like the Skrulls do. We never know if a character will come back. It's the MCU, so there's Gaia. Your show nerfs characters that were already existing in the Hulk, in Daredevil. Why is he in the show? Yeah, they have sex, but genuinely, why is he in this? Hulk in there at the beginning to kind of guide her, but then is gone from the rest of the show, and then we get his son at the end. What? Like, it's continuously bad news for the Hulk and the Hulk family that so much of that development is happening.
15 seconds, Tyler.
The whole point of She-Hulk is to have Jen become a Hulk, and you see the cousin relationship between Hulk. You ask, why is he in here? Why is the Hulk in here? Why is Hulkling in here? It's about family. You wrap up the show, and you have Daredevil sitting down at the lunch table. They're all having the backyard barbecue. It's amazing.
15 seconds, Jeremy.
Secret Invasion has ramifications that shatter every single MCU project. Meanwhile, She-Hulk was just a side project that most people are going to forget that had random things happen for no good reason whatsoever.
Time. All right. That was absolutely fantastic. I love that I could see in your guys' eyes that neither one of you believed a word that was coming out of your mouth. Having to find things to say. I'm sorry to throw that on you guys. That was fantastic. Really quickly, just a couple.
I do think she's hot, though. By the way. I will say that's what I led off with because I was like, I need to say something I believe, so we're gonna go with that.
Tatiana Maslany is definitely beautiful.
Yes.
We got a good luck Tyler in there. We said She-Hulk is the best because it added Nicki Minaj, so that's a good enough. I don't think it was Nicki Minaj. I think it was
Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion. Right, right.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got a. It's pretty hot in there. We need that on a T-shirt now. Tyler made She-Hulk seem like it's the next Shawshank Redemption. All right. Yeah. So I've just been bouncing around in terms of trying to figure out what I'm going to say here. You both make good arguments. Personally, I'm going to give the point to Jeremy, who I feel painted his picture as like a cool drama with Nick Fury at the center of it and these cool like characters and stuff. I feel like he had the easier one to argue for this question. I won't lie. I think that Tyler had a little bit of a rougher time there.
I just be picking tough ones to argue.
I mean, to be fair, if we were on the original question, I think you had a really, really good chance here. But I decided to screw you guys a little bit. But so I'm giving my point to Jeremy. Willy, who are you giving your point to?
I got to give my point to Jeremy, man. Jeremy, first, Jeremy, you know, not only are you going to be a screenplay writer, but you could also do voiceovers for trailer because the way you opened up your argument, it was like epic as shit, dude.
Thank you.
Going over all the characters, and as far as the rebuttal, as far as Gaia being removed, it sounds like the problem was fixed. They fixed the actual problem by removing her. So if and I'm speaking of somebody who I made the smart decision to not see either of these series. So it's great that I can only really rely on your arguments right now. So that's why Jeremy gets it. Tyler, I don't know how it sounded like it ended like a Fast and Furious movie. They're all having a barbecue and it was about
it did.
Coronas too or some shit, dude.
Yep.
But also the Daredevil and She-Hulk having sex. I don't know if I want to see that or if I don't want to see that. I don't know. It's kind of like the bestiality thing. I don't know what's going on, dude.
It's not when she's She-Hulk. I just want to put that out.
Oh,
there.
good.
Right.
That's
I
good.
forgot
You know?
that.
Thank you. Yeah, you
scrambled in my thoughts. So yeah.
Who knows?
I guess that's true. That's true. Who knows? But
We don't know. Daredevil could have been all up in the green cheeks. You
Well,
know?
neither does Daredevil. He can't see, so he doesn't know either. He can't like sense it. So, you know.
All right, so Jeremy wins that point, but Chad, I'd love to hear your thoughts on who you felt won that argument.
So similar to Willy, I haven't seen either show, but I'll say this: hearing both their arguments, Tyler made me want to watch She-Hulk. Secret Invasion, it just seems like Winter Soldier 2.0, just a lot more bad. Like Rhodey is a Skrull. I'm like, since when? Okay. She-Hulk, I mean, it at least has, it seems like good performances and everything, but I don't think I'll watch either show. But it just seems like Secret Invasion is more to get through. But I did like, I will say, I did like Jeremy's argument about AI, how he was trying to make it seem like, oh, well, it's because, you know, it's like otherworldly. And everything. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
that was a nice spin.
I was like, I'm not a fan of AI, but I was like, that's a pretty good argument. But
that hurt me to say. That was like one of my, when you brought it up, Tyler, that was one of my points. I was like, I hate that you brought it up. And I also kind of like She-Hulk, so that made it a little, like, I was ready to go up against, you know, saying why She-Hulk was good. So that would have been interesting if it was reversed.
All right. Well, Jeremy won that point. Good job, guys. I'm going to say this right now before we move into the next question. I am so glad that I am the last one to vote on this next question, because the question is, who was the best cast character in a Marvel movie in live action, or Marvel in general in live action? Who was the best casting of a Marvel character in live action? Tyler is arguing for Captain America, Chris Evans, and Jeremy is arguing for Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
I know
This
it.
is
I knew it.
This is going to be a showdown for sure. Jeremy, you start. Jeremy, you're real quick. All up in the green cheeks. We're going to get that.
That's
on
another shirt.
T-shirt. Yeah,
that's a shirt right there.
All right, Jeremy, 60 seconds. Why is RDJ as Iron Man the best casting in live action?
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Not only is he the icon of the entire MCU, but to also cast someone who is so personally intertwined with a very similar story as his character, so much so that in the first Iron Man movie and subsequent sequels and appearances, so much of the Iron Man lines and kind of arcs were so influenced by Robert Downey Jr. himself. He improv'd a lot of the lines, so he got to basically form the character as he was on set, which is really amazing. Both of these characters have troubled pasts, right? They're both party boys. They both kind of hit a very low point in their lives, and they both overcome that to be heroes and icons and someone to look up to. And I think that is so wonderful and essential because it is such an important story, not only to see it reflected in the film, but also in real life. And so much so to the point that they're basically interchangeable. And whenever they recast this for the new MCU, they might just have.
All right, 60 seconds for Captain America, Tyler, or Chris Evans, Captain America.
Chris Evans, Captain America, is the best cast in the MCU because he's the heart and the soul of the MCU. He's the backbone. He's the one that everybody looks to for leadership. Chris Evans had a lot to overcome. You said RDJ was very Iron Man-like, and yes, he was, but Chris Evans had a much bigger task. Captain America is a Boy Scout. Captain America has these ideals that America was shifting away from. So to be able to bring a country together in these movies and in this performance is why Chris Evans rose to the occasion. He was seen as Johnny Storm, this kind of comedy, goofy, wacky guy, not serious guy. And then as soon as he got the role of Captain America, he rose to the occasion. And all of the great lines and all of the great moments in the MCU are Captain America moments. Avengers Assemble, his relationship with Sam Wilson, his relationship and story arc that goes through multiple movies that actually means something in the MCU with Bucky is some of the best Marvel relationships in the entire series.
All right, 30 seconds, Jeremy.
Robert Downey Jr. was able to bring a C-list character and make him as big as Superman, as big as Batman, as big as Spider-Man. He is the reason why the MCU is where it is today. As soon as his character passed away in these films, the MCU went downhill. No one liked it as much. Both audience, both critics, so much of the MCU revolved around this performance and this character that, yes, when we lost Captain America, it was still kind of fine because we still have Sam being the new Captain America. And honestly, I'm okay with that.
All right. 30 seconds, Tyler.
If Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. was so pivotal and so monumental, why did they recast him as Dr. Doom now? It seems like they're trying to do revisionist history and they're trying to find a new way to bring him back, but it's going to diminish his casting as Iron Man, is it not? I do not believe, and I'm not fully sold on Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom. And I do feel like that hurts his rendition of Iron Man. I feel like there's going to only be one Captain America, which is Chris Evans, and you will never reach that level again.
Final 15 seconds, Jeremy.
Him being cast as Dr. Doom is actually an indicator of how big of a hole he left leaving that position. And also, we already have a new Captain America with Sam Wilson.
All right, time. Final 15 seconds, Tyler.
Chris Evans gives an unforgettable performance. Iron Man has these moments that are fun, and he's a tech bro, and he's really fun and cool. But the emotional arc of Peggy and the belief that you can be better than what you were and a hero.
All right. Good argument, guys. Two fantastically casted roles. And I'm very happy to be the last one judging this time around. Willy, you're up first this time. Who are you casting your vote for?
Well, I feel very strongly about these questions, actually, and these answers. I would have loved to jump in here on this one. But I think you guys both brought up, great arguments. Shit, man. But I have to give this one to freaking Jeremy. And a lot of it is because of the way I personally feel. And I mean, Jeremy, I know, you said, I will say that, you said that he brought Captain America from a C list to an A list, but all the Avengers went from C list to A list. People forget that this was our grandparents' freaking, properties. Like, we didn't read those fucking comics. This thing is, X-Men and Spider-Man was sold to other studios. That's why they had to go to Avengers. But Captain America's been recasted. And, Anthony Mackie's, I liked him in Winter, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And honestly, I think Sebastian Stan would make a good Captain America too. I think the reason he's getting cast as Dr. Doom is because Marvel fucking regretted what they did where they're like, holy shit, we didn't realize how important Robert Downey Jr. was. Now we got to fucking put him in something. I don't even know if the Doctor Doom thing is going to work. It may not work because it may be too weird seeing him in another role. But yeah, I mean, even from the personal aspect, you know, you're talking about what he had to overcome. Like, look at Robert Downey Jr.'s personal life. He didn't make shit in that first one because of how much the insurance was for him as an actor in a film. So it's yeah, I think that Boy Scout role is one that, even though I think Chris Evans plays it better than anyone else, and Tyler, you made some great arguments there with that, because I don't think anyone's ever going to be Chris Evans Captain America. It could still work though, with probably two other actors, which is Anthony Mackie and also Sebastian Stan. Iron Man, you can't recast that shit. No way. No, you can't. Shuri is awesome, but she's still not Iron Man. She's different. She's you know, Wakanda Iron Man, but it's different. You know what I mean? Robert Downey Jr., he took that role where every time he showed up in another movie, whether it be a Spider-Man film or anything else, he stole that screen time. He stole that part of the film every time, no matter who he shared that screen with. Yeah. So yeah, I give it to Jeremy for sure.
All right, so Jeremy gets a point on that first one. Chad, who are you giving your point to?
Am I able to not vote this round?
Nope.
No, but seriously, you both have really good arguments. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, who do I pick? Because I see the positives and negatives that both of you guys bring about, because both of these characters technically have already been recasted. I mean, Anthony Mackie, he technically isn't Captain America. That's what the whole new Captain America was about, how he's never going to be able to fill in those shoes. Then we have Ironheart, which is pretty much Iron Man 2.0. But I got to give it to Tyler, because Tyler sold me on something that I had an epiphany when I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was this. When I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine and I saw Chris Evans appear, I was like, Captain America, what's he doing in here? And then when he all of a sudden turned into Johnny Torch, I was like, oh, right, I forgot. And I feel like he had a bigger hurdle because, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. had a difficult life up to Iron Man. But I feel like Chris Evans had an even harder life because he had to go from playing a superhero that people kind of knew to then, oh, yeah, he is now Captain America and this is him. So I got to give the point to Tyler. But again, it's neck and neck. It was a very difficult choice for me. But ultimately, Tyler making that point is what made me say, yeah, I mean, that was something I thought about.
All right. So now it's down to me, of course. I was hoping this wouldn't happen. I was hoping you guys would make it real easy, but I guess not. Yeah, that was definitely neck and neck for me as well. I think you guys both made really good arguments, and I mean, I think most people would argue that like these two are some of the best cast Marvel or just comic book movie characters on the big screen ever. With some of the and like Endgame just brought their story to such a great sense of finality for both of them. But you both made really good. There was some juking, some weaving, some punches that were being made on both sides. So it was really hard to kind of make a one solid choice. And I think like the one argument that like stuck out to me the most was the one that Tyler made about how Captain America, in a world where like I think especially modern day, where even in the last like 10, 15 years, people are kind of moving away from like American idealism. The Captain America kind of brought that back for a lot of people, and he's kind of a touchy character because if you don't like agree with that goody two shoes mentality, you may not like him. But I think ultimately, like Chris Evans had to step into that, and Chad brought it up too. It's like he was already another popular Marvel character, and like to kind of like come in and like I remember when he was cast, it was this thing of like, is he gonna be able to like, oh no, he's already Johnny Storm. How does that work? But here he came in and he nobody thinks of him as Johnny Storm now. They think of him as Captain America. So I'm going to give my point to Tyler, meaning that Tyler wins that round, which means that we're tied again. You guys, clearly there's a lot of punches being thrown here.
Captain America Civil War.
Right. Yeah, we got a little Civil War action. That's what I should have made the thumbnail, is these two facing down each other. All right, guys. So real quick, just a couple of comments on that argument. We had Brie Larson is the best cast MCU character as Captain Marvel. That's a hot take, but you know, hey, I don't mind her in that role for sure. We got Mike in here saying with a hot take saying I don't like Robert Downey Jr. at all, and Chris Evans is Captain America is my favorite current MCU hero. My bias would be out the window. Glad I'm not a judge. We also got some other ones in here like RDJ is Iron Man, Chris Evans Captain America, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, Wesley Snipes is Blade, and Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Captain America also has the best story, especially as we've all at some point been maybe small in stature and had that dream of being bigger and standing up for ourselves. We also got some words here on the Doctor Doom thing. RDJ is okay as the cast of Doctor Doom, but I would like to see Cillian Murphy as Doom since he did a great job as Oppenheimer. And we also got some love for you guys saying that the contestants did an excellent job making the judges sweat on the voting. Being a judge is a tough task. Yes, it absolutely is. Sometimes it seems like it's like the fun laid back job until you're like, damn. Sometimes you wish that one of the contestants kind of sucked, you know, and then when they don't suck, it's like, damn, you gotta sit here and like actually make a logical choice.
Yeah, because I mean, I would have chosen if I was a contestant, I probably would have chosen Iron Man, but I thought Tyler created a slightly better argument. I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, no, the two of these guys are definitely not holding back. They came
Yeah,
prepared,
I love it.
and I'm absolutely loving it. So that moves us into our 7th question now, which is, who is the most underrated Marvel character? This is across the board. This is comic books, whatever, just like a character in general. Tyler is arguing for Nova, a character that even though we've seen, you know, the Nova Prime and all that in the in the Guardians movies, we haven't seen the character of Nova properly yet. And Jeremy is arguing for Norrin Rad, aka the OG Silver Surfer. So Silver Surfer versus Nova, 2 cosmic characters. So this should be a good time. I think Tyler, you went first last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jeremy, whenever you're ready, 60 seconds for why Silver Surfer is the most underrated character.
What's the most interesting storyline you can have? One of redemption. Now add some power cosmic in that, and you have Norrin Rad Silver Surfer. His story begins with him as a man in a utopian society who is it's so perfect that he gets bored because he has dreams of being a cosmic adventurer. But be careful what you wish for, because soon after, Galactus comes to feed on his planet. However, in order to save his planet, he gives himself up to be his herald, and now has to do the unfortunate things of scouting planets for Galactus to feed on. Until he sees a Fantastic Four, he doesn't realize all of the bad that he's doing, and he goes against his master in Galactus. And now after that, which is a wonderful story that we touch on with this new movie, just as Shalal Ball instead, now we have him being a mouthpiece for Stan Lee and his views on humanity, and him sulking and recognizing what he has done.
Time. 60 seconds for Nova.
Nova has been teased in the MCU, and we have not gotten him. So you can tell that Marvel wants to use him, and he is going to show up at some point. Nova is somebody who is also a teenager, just like Spider-Man. So you can appeal to the kids and give the cosmic side of the universe a run for its money and show what a kid would do with these cosmic powers, right? What adventures could this kid do if he was able to go into space and battle all of these, you know, pharaohs and aliens alike? You have Nova, who gets his powers from a dying Zendarian and is told that Zor is going to destroy his world. And you can have a movie where the character is kind of unsure of where he's at in his life, right? And doesn't really know what he's going to do or what is his strength in the world, but then gets bestowed with these powers that he can now rise to the occasion and save his world from ultimate doom.
30 seconds, Jeremy.
Not only do you get Stan Lee's philosophies and views on humanity through Silver Surfer, especially in the earlier days, but you get such beautiful and stunning visuals in any of his comics. Look at Silver Surfer Black, look at Silver Surfer Requiem. You get these wonderful thoughts and ideas with some of those most beautiful visuals ever put onto screen, with such a powerful cosmic being with insane, wonderful powers. He is so underrated. He's only used for a similar story every single time that we've seen on a bigger scale.
Time. 30 seconds, Tyler.
We've seen a lot of Silver Surfer in the past, and he's not somebody that I think can hold his own in a movie fully, but Nova has so much history. And like I said, we've already set his story up and his world up with the Zendarians in the MCU. So there's already a lot of backstory that's already done where you can kind of just jump into a really great contained story with Nova.
You got 6 seconds.
He's got a sick costume and he can fly.
Okay. Hold on. Is it 30 seconds, Jeremy? Oh, no, 15 seconds. I'm sorry. Go ahead. 15 seconds.
No one will ever look cooler than a completely Silver Surfer in space. I mean, come on, the absolute aura, the use of his powers, everything looks so much cooler, and we have so much untapped potential with Silver Surfer. He's so much more than we've already seen. Just read any of his comics that I've already mentioned.
15 seconds for Nova.
Nova is like Spider-Man, and if you did a buddy comedy, or not a buddy comedy, but a buddy film with the two of them, and he was in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, which a lot of kids grew up on, so it could be a box office success, and he could be a new, fun Marvel character that everybody will grow to love over the next 10 years.
All right, great arguments, guys. Yeah, again, I love the passion. Really quickly, I just want to say there's a comment in here. Perfect casting, and I must say with the contestants, both guys are so cool, and their passion for the MCU is unmatched, which I definitely have to agree. Like the passion you guys are having is definitely making this fun. Chad, you're up first this time around. Who are you casting your vote for?
I was waiting for Tyler to say it, and he finally said it at the end. We have had a Fantastic Four movie called Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer. I know who Silver Surfer is. I didn't know who Nova was until Tyler started explaining it. So for me, the underrated part, by definition, it goes hand in hand with Tyler. So my vote's for Tyler. All
right. Well, that's a really good point that Tyler brought up at the end. You know, in terms of like
two Fantastic Four movies actually, because isn't the new one, doesn't it have Silver Surfer?
Yeah, it does have a different Silver Surfer.
He said Norrin Rad specifically. So
yeah, the OG Silver Surfer, who is in Rise of the Silver Surfer, who is like a title character for sure. So that is a good point. I will say though that there isn't enough, I think, a lot of times with Silver Surfer, and I think that Jeremy made a good point and good argument for why he is still underrated and why he is such a cool character. And he had the comics there to kind of show some cool imagery of him too. So I'm actually going to give my point to Jeremy, which leaves to Willy to break the tie. Who do you think wins this point?
That's wonderful. Fuck, man. So. Man, they're both great arguments, by the way. And listen, Tyler, I love hearing you talk, dude. It sounds like you keep picking Jeremy, and it's like I fucking hate that because I'm like I want to keep going for Tyler because I'm like shit, I need to give him one, and I have.
You give me one, yeah. I'll keep that one. I'll keep that point. I adore that point. Thank you so much.
I think the reality is though both great arguments, but the question is who's the most underrated. I think Tyler, you're arguing for someone who's not underrated. They're undiscovered pretty much. Where Jeremy is going over a character who it seems like we keep getting a similar story, and I want to see more, especially not trying to spoil anything, but the recent Fantastic Four. It's even though they did they did it with the other Silver Surfer, I was fascinated. I thought she was actually the most interesting character in the movie. And I love Sue Storm in the film, but there's a lot that I think could be explored with Silver Surfer that we have not seen. Where Nova, I would like to know more, but it almost seems like Silver Surfer is more underrated, where Nova's more just undiscovered. Like Nova, they haven't gone over enough of Nova for Nova to be underrated. They need to give Nova a little more love. I agree with you, but yeah, Jeremy brought props apparently too with the freaking book. But
I have props too. I just
where was that shit earlier, dude? You can't bring that.
I won this point, so my words did enough.
5 questions ago, man.
My words did enough. I didn't need to bring the prop out.
But no, I have to give it. I do have to give it to Jeremy, where Tyler makes me want to go see that last Guardians again. I want to see stuff about Silver Surfer that we haven't covered yet, that the MCU hasn't brought to light yet. So I'll give a slight edge to Jeremy.
All right, so Jeremy wins that point, meaning that on the next question, if Jeremy wins the point, he wins the game. But if Tyler wins it, then we will go into the final tiebreaker question that neither one of these gentlemen are prepared for. And nevertheless, this has been a fantastic time. So before we get to what could possibly be the game point, I just want to say a big thanks to everybody watching live or after the fact, to my guests who have been fantastic. The two contestants giving it their all, kicking ass. Still anybody's game, though. And really quickly, just a couple of comments in here. We had great arguments in there. And we also got a Willy from having a point that didn't matter to the definitive point.
Thanks,
The
Mickey.
arc.
So, all right, guys, let's move on to what could be the final question, but it's still anyone's game. And that question is, who is the worst member of the Avengers? Tyler is going to be arguing for Hawkeye, and Jeremy is arguing for War Machine. So it's Hawkeye versus War Machine. I think who went first last time? Tyler went first last time. You went first last time, or Jeremy did? Jeremy,
Yeah, I did.
Okay, my bad. I got to start writing this down because I start to, by this point in the game, every episode, I'm like, where am I? All right, 60 seconds, Tyler, for why Hawkeye is the worst Avengers character.
Hawkeye is the worst Avengers character because he's just basically the sidekick to Black Widow. All of the attention goes to Black Widow in these movies, and he's just kind of there shooting arrows, and his personality and his character arc is not really there. And they kind of a little bit, they kind of gave it a little bit, but they didn't give him a lot of attention here. He just be shooting arrows, and nobody dresses up as Hawkeye, right? Like nobody's like, Hawkeye is my man, like that doesn't happen. And obviously, Jeremy Renner is a good actor, but he had to basically become a completely different character to become cool, which would be Ronan. So it's just like, yeah, you're clearly not cool, and you're clearly the worst one because all you can really do is shoot some arrows, and half the time you're either taken over by Loki, so you're not really in the plot, or like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you had to figure out a plot way to get him out of the movie because you're like, well, he'll die if he's, so we're just gonna use him in a negative way to cause issues for the heroes and not really be an Avenger.
War Machine, 60 seconds. Whenever you're ready, Jeremy.
The best years of this character was prior to him being in the Avengers. His literal joke in the second Avengers movie is that he has the worst story as a hero. His three most impactful beats in the MCU are him getting shot out of the sky in Civil War, him getting snapped out of existence in Infinity War, and him being replaced by a Skrull that he couldn't even say goodbye to his best friend, or whatever that timeline is because it's messy because of Secret Invasion. Him being replaced by a Skrull. He does nothing for the plot that is good. He is just used as an emotional side character, and it's because he keeps losing. It's very unfortunate. He's just the worst Iron Man, and he's not even the best secondary Iron Man because you had Iron Spider and you have Ironheart now. That tells me that he has to be the worst Avenger because there's nothing positive about him. Whereas with Hawkeye, at least he was part of the OG6. At least he was the emotional crutch to start Endgame. And he inspires Kate Bishop, another hero. Who dresses up as Hawkeye? Kate Bishop does.
All right, 30 seconds, Tyler.
He is the worst character because he's not given any sort of arc to go over, and he's the last one on the rung, and he doesn't really play any crucial point in the Avengers themselves. Like I said, it's all Black Widow, and it's him, and he needs to be kind of booted from the story in order to make the stories work. He doesn't have any sort of thrust to make the Avengers team meaningful or anything, and he teaches
30 seconds, Jeremy.
Hawkeye in both Endgame and in his own show, yes, he was Ronin for part of Endgame, but once he rejoined the Avengers, he was so integral in getting that stone from Red Skull. Yes, it was between him and Natasha going back and forth, right? And then in the actual Hawkeye show, you show what these heroes are supposed to do, which is inspire the next generation to be better, to do better, to actually be heroes. And he even had to flip Natasha's sister, which, yes, that's an interesting one too, but he still showed that he can do good in the world.
All right, 15 seconds for Hawkeye.
War Machine and Iron Man in that first Iron Man movie are peas in a pod. It's one against the other. They are together. And Rhodey really helps Tony on that journey to become Iron Man. There is no Iron Man without Rhodey.
Final 15 seconds, War Machine.
Once again, proving my point that War Machine was better before he was an Avenger, because he did important stuff, but he wasn't an Avenger yet. Meanwhile, Hawkeye at least was always an Avenger to some level, or had to deal with Avengers and did positive things in those lights.
All right, time. Woo! That was a tough one, man. And I'm first this time, of course. Yeah, so I won't lie. I thought Tyler had it in the bag just on choices alone. I was like, oh, Tyler's gonna do this. But then Jeremy had the list of all these like embarrassing. I don't even want to. I guess you can call them embarrassing accolades for War Machine. I do think like where he really for me won the argument was saying that Hawkeye at least inspired the next generation, where there wasn't as much of that to say about War Machine. So my point's going to go to Jeremy. Willy, who are you giving your point to?
Man, I'm happy to say Tyler. So
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's two.
So, the whole thing about War Machine keeps losing. Well, not really, because I mean, if it wasn't for War Machine, we wouldn't have, whether it be a good or bad thing, had an Iron Man 3, because Robert Downey Jr. would have died in Iron Man 2. War Machine helped Iron Man, win in Iron Man 2. So he played some kind of important role. Plus, the whole, the rebuttal Jeremy had for Tyler as far as the Red Skull and getting the stone. He didn't play an integral part. His best friend died. So it's like even that part. I can't watch Endgame without seeing Hawkeye stopping Black Widow from killing herself, kind of being like, no, let me have something. Let me be important for something. And Black Widow's, no, I'm still going to be important. And fucking she dies instead. So even that he couldn't get right. Like he let his best friend die. Yes, he's Black Widow's bitch. We've made that very clear. But I can't get away from the whole no kid wants to be Hawkeye. I'm thinking about Halloween costumes. Like if you got to be Hawkeye, and if you want to be Hawkeye in the middle of the Avengers, the invasion in New York, do you want to be the guy with fucking with a fucking bow and arrow, or do you want to be the guy in another Iron Man suit? I want to be the guy in another Iron Man suit. I don't want to be the guy with a fucking bow, like Robin Hood out there with fucking aliens. No, dude, no. So I got to give that point to Tyler.
All right. So that means Chad, it's up to you to break the tie, my friend.
Boy, I can't believe this. It comes down to this. Okay, so you both had great arguments. I was definitely able to see both your viewpoints, but Jeremy had some excellent points. There probably wouldn't have been a Avengers film. Like the story wouldn't have happened. Like Loki needed him, and yes, you could say, well, that makes him the worst, but second Avengers, he redeemed himself. He let them use his house. And then Endgame, it literally starts with his house and everything, and he's able to redeem himself. And he also goes through a lot of trauma. War Machine, I honestly forgot about him because he got cast twice. I will say I wish Jeremy kind of touched on that a little bit, where at least Jeremy Renner, when you think about him with the MCU, you think of Hawkeye. But again, both great arguments, but I'm giving the point to Jeremy.
All right. And like that, Jeremy wins today's show. But man, what a game, guys. You both did an incredible job. Genuinely, really appreciated hearing both of you guys. Big arguments. Big kudos to both of you guys for stepping up to the plate. You both definitely you know your stuff. So yeah, no tiebreaker today, but it was a great time. Congratulations, Jeremy. That's 2 wins on the show now. We're gonna have to get somebody on here to take you out, man. But Tyler got really close there. It was a really good time. So thank you so much to everybody who watched live or watched after the fact. Really appreciate you all. Thank you to my fellow judges. Thank you to my contestants. Looking forward to having all of these guys on again. Willy, we got to get you in the contestants chair one of these days. Chad, we got to get you back in there to fight again, because you were on episode 1. You didn't win, but there's still another chance to win. Yeah. Tyler has already been a judge and a contestant now, and definitely looking forward to having Tyler on again to challenge somebody else in the future. Really great time. But like I always go ahead.
If Jeremy keeps winning, I'll come back and battle him again.
Hey, I like that. I like that spunk. A
I want to
rematch.
Jeremy.
A rematch.
A rematch.
And if that's the case, all of us have to come back. It has to be the same.
Hey,
It has to be the same structure. That'd be cool.
I'm down. I'm down. Yeah, listen, it looks like Jeremy, you got a rematch on your hands coming soon enough, my friend.
I'm ready.
I came so close. I kind of want another shot. That'd be fun.
Yeah. You guys both did really, really well. That was such a good time, and you had us judges struggling with some of these choices for sure. But really quick, what I was gonna say some comments in here. Great debate. I was hoping it would go to tiebreaker. Yeah. But the tiebreakers will come back, I'm sure. The judges are glad they can breathe with relief. Tough one to judge today. Yeah, it was definitely. I would argue that this was probably one of the best arguments of the show so far in like the life of the show. You guys came prepared. You guys have both seen the show, so there wasn't like a need to like over explain. You guys didn't have any nerves. You came with it. You knew what you wanted to argue. You were passionate about it, and that's like literally what I dreamed this show would be. So yeah, great job, guys. As usual, guys, I'd like to give everybody a quick moment to just kind of plug something they got going on, anything on their channel. So Chad, we'll start with you. Anything you want to plug on your channel? By the way, the links to all of these great guests are down below in the description box.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, of course. My first and last name, Chad Sabourin. I'm on Letterboxd, as you know, Anthony. I use it pretty much every day, which my username is chad.sabourin. You guys can follow me on Letterboxd and YouTube. I occasionally go on TikTok and Twitter. I guess it's now X, so you guys can follow me on there. But I do film reviews, top 10 lists, director rankings. But yeah, that's my plugins.
All right, man. I gotta ask because Chad is like just a movie fiend. I thought I'm a movie fiend. I think we all think we're movie fiends. How many movies are you at right now this year, Chad?
Let me do a quick look because it's so many. I am at this year 400.
Holy shit, dude.
Insane. If anybody who follows Chad on Letterboxd, every time I refresh my Letterboxd, he is in that first group of people who had just watched the movie. It's crazy. It's insane the numbers this guy does. But anyway, man, yeah, it sounds like you got some great stuff going on over there. Willy from Willy Rants and Reviews. Anything you want to plug over on your channel, man?
No, don't. Just fucking review. I'm still stuck on the 400. What, dude? When the hell do you like go to the bathroom with the phone watching this shit?
He's on vacation now, so maybe he's taking a break.
I doubt it.
Just listen. Channels Willy Rants and Reviews. I really focus just on YouTube. And it's just movie reviews from just a fan to a fan perspective. I try not to review movies with like a stick up my ass or anything. I just try to. It's like having a drink and talking about movies with your friend. That's really just the way I like to do it. And I love reading the comments, and I love everyone that supports the channel. And every single I love the community, dude. And Anthony, I just want to thank you for just kind of putting everybody together with the YouTube page on Facebook and everything else. And you definitely bring a lot of us together. And thank you for that, dude. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I appreciate it. I'm happy to do it, man. Honestly, it's been great to know so many great people who are passionate about film in different levels, and be able to have them on and mix and match guests and introduce people to one another. It's a lot of fun for sure. Tyler, what about you? Anything you want to plug coming up on your channel?
Yeah, so we do movie reviews, and I'm just starting a new kind of series where I'm reading Project Hail Mary, and so I'm going to be reviewing each couple chapters. So I'll be doing that leading up to the movie. We are obviously on my Fantastic Four review that I got out. I want to do a spoiler review for that, so if any of you guys want to join kind of the panel discussion for that, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know when we're going to do that. I'm also going to try to take certain scenes from movies and break them down from a filmmaker's perspective. I edit for a living and do VFX and product animation. It's kind of what I do. And I'm also in the process. I've recently cast an actress. I'm writing a Jean Grey fan film. So
nice.
Yeah, we're going to be producing that. That's coming down the pipeline. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, man, that sounds dope, man. It sounds like you got some great stuff going on over there for sure. And hit me up or hit us up if you want to do that Fantastic Four spoiler chat. Just let us know, and I'm more than down. Jeremy, what about you? Anything you want to plug coming out on Yeti Films?
I got my Fantastic Four review out, just of course, and we're gonna have 2 reviews out this week because we got the Bad Guys 2, which me and Anthony saw today, and we have Naked Gun coming up too. Just want to say to all you guys real quick, nice meeting all you. Tyler, man, you had me on the ropes. Really, really fun debating you.
Same.
I really hope we can do a rematch because that was fun. Anthony, as always, thank you for having me on here. So excited to do any of these anytime. that you have me. So
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you guys to all of you guys. I appreciate the kind words from all of you guys, and just great YouTubers all around right here. If you want quality movie review and movie related content of all kinds, you got it here, and they all come from different perspectives. Like Chad was mentioning, he does all these like rankings. If you want like detailed ranking list of like full directors, and like he will do like a full directors ranking of the or like a full ranking of like every movie that was in the Oscars in 1972. Like this guy will give you full detailed breakdowns. Willy, like he said, is like it's just like having a beer with a friend and just listen to somebody chat about movies. Head on over there. Tyler always comes with that little bit of a filmmaking approach to it. And yeah, if you want all kinds of full reviews, short form content, Jeremy's got content on TikTok and Instagram and on YouTube and all kinds of stuff with that great radio voice that he has and that sweet stash. So
Thank you.
genuinely, thank you so much to everybody joining. As for myself, like everybody else, Fantastic Four review on the channel now. Just finished filming a review for The Bad Guys 2. The embargo for that lifts on Wednesday, even though the movie came out in the UK this weekend, but I still got to go by the embargo, so that's that. Monday, seeing The Naked Gun, so that review should be up either Monday night or Tuesday night. I don't know if there's an embargo. I'll have to check. And yeah, outside of that, stay tuned. There'll be more. Another episode of Convince the Panel probably next week. And yeah, it's been a blast doing these. Have such a blast having all these guests on, and we will. Hey, listen, this is the first time somebody's asked for a rematch, so I'm gonna honor that. So give me a couple weeks. We'll get a couple other guests in here, but I will hit these guys up and we'll do a follow up. We'll do a follow up, completely different topic, and see what happens for sure. So it should be a really good time.
Should do DC next time.
Yeah, we did DC last week, but you know what? I'm down to do DC again. I'm down to do DC again because I know these guys know their stuff. So a big thanks to everybody watching live or after the fact. Genuinely appreciate it. Everybody who commented, really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.